Hi, I'm Becky Barstein, and I'm a senior associate with Bright Morning, and I'm here to help you think about how you build trust on your teams. Maybe your team is brand new and you want to be proactive with building trust. Maybe trust on your team is actually quite high and you want to reinforce it. It's a really smart thing to do. And maybe your team is in a place where you realize there are some trust gaps and you want to repair trust. No matter the situation you're in, you will get one takeaway at least, if not more, from today's video. And so let's start with the key ingredients for trust, the 4 C's. Notice which of these feel familiar and really aligned to how you want to show up as a leader, and which of these you're like, oh, I definitely want to focus on more and prioritize for my own growth and development. The first C is care. Does your team know that you see them and that you care about them? The second is consistency. Do you consistently do what you say you're going to do? Do you consistently support them? The third C is competence. Do you demonstrate the skills necessary to steward your team? And then the fourth C is congruence. Do your outsides match your insides? Meaning, do your words and values align to your actions? Take a moment to pause and think about which of these C's you already do really well and which of these you might want to focus on in the future. So hopefully you have at least one C you want to focus on, and this might help you think about pitfalls to avoid. So depending on the C that you picked, you might want to avoid this pitfall, the wait and see approach. Some leaders approach trust kind of like throwing seeds on the ground and hoping that they sprout, realizing that maybe we might get a couple of sprouts, but this wait and see approach really doesn't yield fertile crops here. The second pitfall is bypassing the hard. Maybe you notice these moments of tension or difficulty, but you don't address them directly. What you do instead is sort of a roundabout. Maybe you do an icebreaker at the beginning of your meetings, hoping that will make everything better. If anyone could be any type of flower, what flower would you be? Everyone go around and share. Check. We went ahead and consistently did an icebreaker, but there's no real care or congruence to those aligned actions there. It's going to fall flat and not really address the true difficulties in that space. The last pitfall to avoid is fixing before listening. Many times, our teams bring something to us, maybe a hard or frustrating moment or a pain point they're experiencing. And before they've even finished, sometimes we interrupt them mid sentence and we offer them a ton of really great strategies, but they don't quite match and people don't quite feel heard. We engage in this game of, have you tried this? And have you tried that? And maybe the person in front of us nods. Maybe we get some compliance and they say, oh, that's a great idea. But the problem keeps sprouting up like weeds time and time again, even though you gave them the suggestion. When we fix versus deeply listen and empower, we're going to keep seeing the same problem over and over again. And that's why, instead, a transformational move is explicitly name the trust building process. Let folks know that you know it's not going to happen in one meeting or with one icebreaker, but that you want to make sure that in addition to us being a successful team that accomplishes our goals, we're a team that does that well. We're not just completing tasks side by side with one another, but we're working together, and that requires trust. Let them know that you know it starts with you. It's something you need to model and tend to and care for. And you're going to name when you intentionally are giving them opportunities to build trust and practice it. The second move here is leveraging micro moments. I would love if we all could take like a 9-day retreat in Portugal or another beautiful place and really build trust in team. And we don't always have the time, energy, and resources for that. So we can be really intentional with leveraging micro moments to build trust because people's brains are constantly scanning for danger. That's how the human brain is hardwired. And so if you give people not danger, but different opportunities to reflect on, ooh, I can really trust this person here, they're going to feel supported. And so a couple of examples of micro moments of trust building are plan for trust building moments during and in between meetings. For example, at Bright Morning, we have a weekly connection Slack channel or communication channel. And this is a dedicated space where we connect based on our self-reflections, our resilience, and our values and norms. Something else you can do is really invite people, don't force them to share. Using invitation-based language like "would anyone be willing to" or "I would love if folks could," and you give them the agency to decide to engage when they're ready. Follow up when someone is vulnerable. There was a time where I shared really vulnerably in a Slack channel, and Elena very publicly said, "Becky, I really appreciate your sharing here. I can see how much you've thought about this." And it felt really good to be seen in my fullness in that moment. Something else you can do is own your mistakes. It doesn't need to be a huge to do, it's not really about you, but name a mistake, a misalignment between actions and what you wanted to do, and let them know how you're going to do differently next time. Another thing that you can do is ask the group, "Hey, I am one person. I have my own biases and limitations. Is there anything else I might be missing here?" Give people space to process and share. And when you show them that you take their feedback into account, when it aligns to the objectives and the purpose, people will really start to trust you. This last move here is shifting from fixing to empowerment. We are not plumbers or handy people, and they serve their purpose. They do fix, but we are leaders, and so we need to lead. We need to appreciate people fully, and we need to empower them to solve their own problems because we do not have the capacity to solve all of their problems. And so think about if someone brings you a hard problem, before jumping into the "have you tried this?" here's what I'd recommend. Pause. It is deceptively simple and so hard to do. Maybe even take a deep breath. When you breathe, people are more likely to breathe as well because of the mirror neurons that are in our brains. And then you could say something like, "I really appreciate you bringing this to me. I do have a couple of ideas of how maybe we could move forward, but I would love to hear your thoughts." Anything come to mind when you think about how you might want to move forward? Has anything worked for you in the past that you think might apply here? That way, the next time this person has a problem, they start to internalize your questions and they can solve their own problems instead of you solving it for them. If you are looking for more tools to put into your toolbox here, I highly recommend our Trust Catalyst Toolkit. This comes from our recent Teams Learning Library skill sessions, and it is your go-to place to build trust with your team. Scan the QR code or click the link in our channel here. And if you are looking for not just a toolkit, but something even more expansive, I would recommend checking out our Teams Learning Library. This is the learning library that Elena and most of us on our team wished we would have had when we were engaging in leadership roles in schools and other organizations, because very few of us got the class on how to meaningfully create norms, how to effectively navigate conflict, how to navigate culture of dominance on teams and really thrive in the face of adversity. And so in the Teams Learning Library, you will have access to powerful tutorial videos, demonstrations, templates, toolkits, email formats that you can copy and paste and send to your team. You'll also have access to a professional learning community. Very few of us have peers that we can regularly talk to in our respective roles. And having a monthly touch point with folks who really understand what it means to be a leader and other folks who really want to lead well can feel so relieving. Bring them your problems, your conundrums, and when we're not meeting live, we have a live community where we ask questions and share resources with one another. So think about if that's something that might be supportive for you. With that, make sure you appreciate yourself for taking the time to think about your own professional development and growth. Because if you are thriving, there is a much greater likelihood that your teams are also thriving.